Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe for more great EV content. So today we're going to be doing the next part of our comparison series. Last time we compared the best electric coupe SUVs on the market. If you want to see that video, click the link above. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, which is compare two of the best mid-size pure electric SUVs. Now we're going to be comparing this car behind me right here, which is the XPeng G9, actually the 2025 version of the G9, with the Zeekr 7X, which we reviewed a few weeks ago. So if you want to see the full review of either of these two cars, we're going to leave the links in the comments. Today we're going to be putting them up head to head to see which one is the best one for you. So let's start with the design of both of these cars, and they both look great and are very similar sized across the board, with the G9 being a little bit bigger than the 7X across the board. The Zeekr 7X is actually a really beautiful looking SUV. It's sleek with lots of round edges and a drag coefficient of just 0.247, which for a mid-size SUV, a proper pure SUV, is actually a pretty good rating. Designed in Sweden, it carries this kind of global appeal with lots of smooth lines and curves and a beautiful back end. The G9, on the other hand, and the new version looks exactly the same as the old version. It's kind of more what you expect a electric SUV to look like. I don't think there's anything really revolutionary going on in terms of its exterior design. I think it leans more towards kind of a techie kind of vibe. One cool thing about the G9 is it has the option of a Black Warrior edition, which is blacked out rims, blacked out fenders, blacked out logos, and it looks very sleek. Which of these do you prefer? Make sure you let us know in the comments. While I think both of them are great looking cars, I might have to give this to the 7X actually. I think it's way more of a head turner and a bit more original in its design. But what do you think? So let's move on to the battery and charging, and both of these are very capable in this department. The Zeekr X comes with either a 75 or 100 kilowatt hour golden battery. They're self-developed in-house battery for a up to 780 kilometers of range CLTC. The XPeng G9, either a 79 or a 93.1 kilowatt hour battery for up to 735 kilometers of CLTC range. And although these are CLTC range, a very generous estimate, we can see that the Zeekr 7X has a slightly better range than that of the G9. In terms of charging speed, this is a new edition of the G9, so it's been upgraded from a 3C, which was great to begin with, to a 5C. So now it can go from 10 to 80% in just 12 minutes, which is absolutely incredible. The Zeekr 7X goes from 10 to 80% in just 13 minutes, so a minute slower, but still incredibly fast. Both interiors are solid, but let's break them down. The interior of the Zeekr 7X is perhaps a little bit minimalist, but very premium. No hard plastics anywhere, and a massive 16-inch central infotainment system. The electric doors might be a bit much for some, but this is an option, so don't worry if this is not something you care about. For me, the Zeekr 7X, I think the interior strikes a great balance of on-screen touch controls with physical buttons. So beneath the infotainment system, we actually do have some physical controls for your more urgently and frequently used tasks. The interior of the XPeng G9 is definitely more towards the kind of tech luxury vibes. Two 15-inch screens, one for the center, one for the passenger, and of course very minimalist. No buttons in here whatsoever. I have to give credit though to the sound system in the G9, which is its X Opera 2, probably one of the better sound systems I've experienced, and much better than that of the Zeekr 7X. So we look at the rear seating very quickly. Both of them have a similar wheelbase, and both of them have amazing amounts of legroom and headroom. The XPeng G9 comes with ventilated cooling, and if you opt for it, massaging seats for the rear passenger. It also has that dual chamber air suspension as standard, which makes for an even more comfortable ride. However, the 7X probably goes a little bit further. It has the option of a queen's chair in the back, a folding down table and screen for the rear passengers, as well as some very thoughtful touches like those electric blinds which can keep your passengers nice and cozy in the back on those super sunny days. For me, these two both offer great rear seating options. So in terms of practicality, and trunk space is great for both. The Zeekr 7X comes with 539 litres of standard trunk space, which is expandable to 2,000 litres. The XPeng G9 has a larger amount of standard space, 754 litres, but a lower amount of expandable space. So expandable space for the G9, 1,795 litres. So both great options. The G9, a bigger trunk as standard. The 7X, a larger expandable space. I will have to give a little bit of credit for the Zeekr 7X here as well, because it actually has electrical controls for putting the seats down, whereas the G9 only has a release latch which just flips the seats down and you have to put them up yourself. So in terms of frunks, and both of them have decent size frunks. For the 7X, this depends on if you go for the all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive version, so that's either a 44 or a 62 litre. For the G9, it comes with a 71 litre frunk as standard, which is a pretty impressive size. So let's talk power, and the Zeekr 7X is a bit of a beast. In the all-wheel drive kind of performance variant, this comes with 475 kilowatts of power, 710 Newton meters of torque. For a 0 to 100 time of just 3.8 seconds. That's pretty mad for a mid-size SUV. It's definitely tuned for performance, and you can feel that the moment you hit the accelerator. The G9 is no slouch either, putting out 423 kilowatts of power and 659 Newton meters of torque for a 0 to 100 of 4.2 seconds, which is still great, but actually seems a little bit slow compared to the time of the 7X. So we've seen the stats for the Zeekr 7X and the XPeng G9. The Zeekr is faster in a straight line speed if we're comparing the all-wheel drive versions of each, but having driven the Zeekr a few weeks ago and the XPeng in the last couple of days, I will have to give the level of engagement, level of enjoyment I get from driving to the Zeekr. The Zeekr is much more fun to drive. I actually found myself getting carried away quite a lot when I was driving that car. Although I will say one caveat for that is the Zeekr version which I borrowed was the all-wheel drive version. This is the rear-wheel drive version. So to put it simply, the 7X is a more kind of performance driver-focused electric SUV. I would say the XPeng is more of a convenience, comfort, kind of tech-focused SUV. In terms of energy consumption, the G9 wins with a quoted combined energy usage of 13.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is actually pretty good. Driving the car myself, I was actually able to get these numbers, so I can vouch for that. The 7X, however, is not quite so efficient. They have quoted 17 to 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, so the G9 wins on efficiency. In terms of autonomous drive function, I know this is more of a brand thing than a vehicle thing, but the Zeekr 7X does actually come with a LiDAR unit, whereas the G9 actually removed its LiDAR unit for the new edition. So the old edition will have it, but the new edition has taken it away because they're focusing more on this vision-based system. Zeekr's NZP actually disappointed me a little bit. I wasn't very impressed with this. As we know, XPeng is a leader in self-driving tech, and their XNGP is very self-assured and very confident. To be honest though, I think with the Zeekr 7X being so fun to drive, you probably wouldn't want to put it in autonomous mode anyway. Whereas the G9 perhaps is probably better suited to more self-driving. So let's take a quick comparison of the prices, and it's a little bit difficult to compare because we have the Zeekr 7X and then we have the old XPeng G9. And we're just going to choose one market to compare so we get a rough idea of these figures, but it's a little bit moot at the moment because the G9, the new version of the G9, isn't selling globally. The Zeekr 7X offers great performance, premium European design, and great engineering. The XPeng G9 offers rapid charging speeds, incredible comfort, and a more tech-driven experience. Which one of these do you prefer? So G9 or 7X, make sure you let us know which one you prefer in the comments. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. I'll see you next time.